What's up, guys? Definitely a nice day out. The sun's a little bit hot to be out there in the sun doing anything. Besides that, I can't see nothing on the camera. It gets flooded out. Today's update's basically about the small bracket here that attaches the actuator to the rotation assembly. But before we go into this, we're going to do this. See the slot right here? You need this slot because you need a little clearance for the actuator to move. This slot is 2 1/4 inches long. Just angle it up, take your cutoff wheel and make short work of it. This is a 3/8 bolt, securely welded on both sides. You have to have a good weld job because this little bolt's going to be dealing with some major torque. Alright, on to the main focus of the update, this little bracket. This little bracket really isn't too hard to fabricate, but it can be aggravating. That's how I made this bracket. I went out and got a piece of 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch steel flat stock at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you want to get it. Come in 7/8, make a line with a marker, go over another 7/8, make another line, go another 7/8, make another line. Take your cutoff wheel, score the steel at the 7/8, come over, score the steel at the other 7/8. Go about halfway through the stock. On your third line, that's your cutoff line. Cut the piece off right there. Put it in your vise. Scored side out. Bend it. Make a 90. Take it out of the vise. Put your other piece in the vise. Bend it. Make a 90. After you have a 90, get your combination square. Come in 1/4 inch. Scribe it. Come to the end. Same 1/4 inch and scribe it. Make sure you do that for this side and this side, both sides. After you have it scribed, center punch it. Center punch it good. Go to the other side. Center punch it. Center punch it good. Drill an 1/8 inch pilot hole in your center punch. Come to the other side. 1/8 inch pilot hole. Go to a 1/4 inch bit. Go through the pilot hole, bring it out to a 1/4 inch. Flip it back around. Go through the pilot hole, bring it out 1/4 inch. At that point, make sure it's in your vise when you do this. Just go all the way through both holes. That way you can be sure that your 1/4 inch bolt goes through it no problem. Oh, I'm not ready for that yet, am I? Okay, at that point your bracket's partially fabricated. Lock it up in your vise. Use a 5/16 bolt for the end. Okay, not 3/8, 5/16. Take and put that bad boy in there. Lock it up in your vise. Or hold on to a pair of vice grips, however you want to do it. Come around and zap, tack weld one side of that bolt. Now when you tack weld the side of this bolt, it's going to pull up towards the tack. Take it outside, take it out of the vise, come to the other side, clamp it down, pull that bolt right back down, put it back in the vise, and weld the other side. Make sure you weld it solid. Also on your score marks, make sure you weld on that score mark where you scored it to bend it. You want a nice solid weld right there. It's got to be good, man, because this little bracket's going to be dealing with a lot of torque from the wind. Okay? It's not really hard. It can be annoying, but you know. At that point, we're ready to go out there and mount it up on the assembly to see what happens. So we'll grab my fancy dancy camera here. Let's see if I can get a halfway decent picture without shutting the camera off. I've done that a few times already. It's really annoying. There we go. You got your 3/8 bolt welded onto the piece of angle iron. It's good and solid. Ain't gonna go nowhere in a high wind. Come over here to this piece. 1, 2, 3. I chose the third slot assembly. Slide it in there. Come over here. Flip the fancy dancy bracket up. Raise up the rotation assembly a little bit. Just slide it in there. You want to put a 5/16 nut on this, of course, and take and double nut it so it don't go nowhere. Now, as it sets right there, the rotation assembly is perfectly lined up with this piece here, right at. So let's activate it and see where it goes. It should go a little bit past 90, but once I get the right wires hooked up, there it is. Yeah, I still have to finish welding these pieces of 1/2-inch tubing on there solid. I also still have to finish welding the anchor assembly solid. Everything's just tack welded right now. Ain't got that far yet. And it goes to, it was exactly, well, it's just a little bit past 90. I'd say like I was at 90, 95 degrees. And let's reverse polarity and bring it back. There we go. Yeah, the reason why I put a 5/16 bolt on this end, and I'm assuming why I originally had a 5/16 bolt on that end, was so that I had a little bit of slop to get it up inside these 1/2-inch pieces of steel tubing. Because if you get your pieces of 1/2-inch steel tubing a little cockeyed and stuff, and you don't have any slop on the ID of this tubing, you're not going to get this bolt in there. It just won't happen. So going with 5/16 rather than 3/8 gives you a little bit of slop, so that you don't got to be having machinist specs to do everything. You can kind of just eyeball it and tack it and weld it, and it works pretty good. It's a backyard project, not a United States Defense Department thing or nothing. Of course, if the Army was interested, I'd definitely build a few for them. No doubt. And what do I do with that? There we go. Oh yeah, hey. I don't know if you can see it from that angle. I'll have to check. Yeah, you can see it. On this piece right here, on the anchor assembly, You mount this so the bottom piece of this 1/2-inch pipe is even with the bottom piece of this 1-inch pipe. To do that, get a piece of steel or something and a C-grip, and you clamp it to the 1-inch pipe, and then you just take the 1/2-inch pipe and lay it down on top of it. You do the same with both ends. That way everything comes out even with the bottom of the 1-inch pipe. And that's about it. At this point, all the pieces are in place for mounting the solar panels. All I got to do is go ahead and just weld up the 1/2-inch tubing, 3 pieces here, 3 pieces here. I need to weld this onto the weld the 1/2-inch water pipe onto the 1-inch water pipe, both sides. And I think I'm gonna put some reinforcement for this rotation assembly bar and this one down here too. So what I think I'll do is just take a steel drop, kind of just weld it on there like that. Gives a little extra strength. Like I say, I mean, you'd be surprised at the degree of torque this assembly is going to go through, so there's no way you can over-engineer it. Mr. Wind wants to. He pick his whole thing up and throw it in the next county and he won't care. Yeah, I think I got a couple pieces of this. No big deal. Well, that's it, fellas. It's kind of a record for me. That's what, 3 updates in a week? I know what it is. I'm going back to night shift here before long, and it's kind of like joining the undead, you know. You don't have much motivation to do stuff, so I'm getting as much done as I can. Y'all have a great day. Stay positive, be good at it. God bless. Keep on tinkering, fellas.